Hi, good morning. My name is Effie Ateng. Welcome to Dawn of Faith. Yeah, we are on day 3 of our prayer series after the Amen experience. I hope that you're having a good experience talking to God and a beautiful experience after the Amen. Yeah, so our character today is Nehemiah, one of my favorite Bible characters. And that is so because of the prayer he made. I'll just give you an overview of what happened and why it is so dear to my heart as well, the story of Nehemiah. At this point in time, Nehemiah is the cupbearer of King Artaxerxes. Yeah, he's the cupbearer of King Artaxerxes, and he's got information from back home, because at this point in time, the Israelites had been taken into captivity by the Chaldeans, but a few who had escaped the captivity were in Judah, and he gets a report that the gates have been burnt with fire and the walls have been broken down, and he is really sorrowful in his heart. He weeps about it, and what's interesting is that he turns to God. He doesn't linger in his sorrow and in his sadness for the longest time, but he turns to God because he knows this is just where the answer comes from. So he makes a prayer to God, which is in the book of Nehemiah, chapter 1. If you read Nehemiah chapter 1, you'll see the prayer of Nehemiah. He praises God, acknowledges him as the creator, and adoring God, and also acknowledging that they've actually sinned, and that's why they were in captivity, the consequences of their sin. And he claims God promised that, God, if we keep your commandments, you'll gather us from various nations and bring us to the place that you've appointed for us. So please, God, hear my prayer. That is Nehemiah speaking, pleading with God that, please, I just want to go back home and, help in the rebuilding of the walls. That is, so after the Amen, he gets courage to actually face King Artaxerxes at that point in time. And his face is sad. You could actually see. And it's interesting to know that the king was sensitive enough to note that Nehemiah was sad. The king could have, this is just a cupbearer. How should I even mind about his emotions? But he noticed that Nehemiah was sad. And he asked Nehemiah, why is your face this sad? What is it? And Nehemiah tells him that, how can I be happy when things are not okay back at home? The gates have been burnt with fire. And then in verse 4, the king asks Nehemiah, and then the king said to me, what do you request? What a privilege. The king asking Nehemiah, what is it? What is your request? It is because Nehemiah had prayed, and he now finds favor in the sight of the king. And this gives him an opportunity to state every other thing that he needs. Nehemiah says that, I just want to go back home. And the king asks him, how many days will it take you? By what time will you be back? So they're having a conversation. God has made it easy for Nehemiah to have this safe space with the king and tell him every other thing that he requires. He asks for permission to go back home and lead and help in the building of the walls of Jerusalem after when we're now returning from captivity. Even ask for permission to be allowed to pass through the territories, the governors to allow him, and even to the keeper of the forest to give them timber so that they can go and help in the building or rebuilding of the walls and the gates of Jerusalem. So that is the after Amen experience for Nehemiah. Because he had prayed to God, he had talked to God first. There are battles you can't fight on your own. There are things that you just, like literally every other thing. Prayer makes a difference. Nehemiah talks to God, and that makes a difference, and it opens ways for him. It gives him favor in the sight of the king, and he's able to go back home. Even Sanballat, the likes of Goshem, they're not able to thwart the rebuilding of the walls of Jerusalem just because Nehemiah had prayed, and that is the after Amen experience for him. So I urge you today as well, pray to God, and may you have a beautiful experience after the prayer. Amen.